6 Palestinians that the group brought to the United States for free medical care in recent years have been killed in Gaza since October 7th. 2 of them killed this week, within a day of each other. Izzeddin Nawasra was killed on Christmas with his entire family. And Mohammed al-Ajuri was killed the day after Christmas with his wife and baby. Steve Sosebee, our deepest condolences. If you can talk about these 2, well, people who were children when you met them, when they were brought to the United States, you brought them to get them medical care, and now killed in the Israeli attacks in Gaza. Tell us about them.
Yeah, well, both of them were amputees. Both had been shot by snipers during the Great Return marches of 2018. They were teenagers who were participating in peaceful protests at the gates. They're at the borders of Gaza. They're refugees. They were born into refugee camps in the Gaza Strip. Their families were the descendants of refugees from 1948 when the State of Israel was created, and were, as all refugees in Palestine, demanding the right to return to their villages, to their homes, to their towns within Israel. During these protests, both had suffered below-knee amputations from the result of being shot by a sniper. And our organization, as a humanitarian organization, identifies these kids who need medical care they can't get locally. And the quality of prosthetic care in Gaza before October 7th was really underdeveloped and in need of improvement, which we were working on. So these kids were brought outside for treatment. Izzeddin was brought to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where he was provided a new leg and taught to walk again. And Mohammed was brought to Dayton, Ohio, where the same thing. Both of them were provided below-knee prosthetics for free, treated by excellent facilities and also by our communities who took care of them as host families. And they became very much integrated in the communities, part of the communities where people want to be involved more in helping these children. Both of them had great experiences during their treatment. They flourished being outside of Gaza for the first time in their lives. And when we sent them back home, as we do with all of our injured kids, both of them started to have a new hope in life. For the first time since their injuries, they were able to go back to school. They were becoming independent. They were mobile. In the case of Izzeddin, we even hired him to become a field worker for our organization. And one of the areas that he was quite interested in was photography. And so we gave him the opportunity to learn and to train in photography to become part of our communications team. And he was flourishing. He was, having an opportunity it was a dream for him to help his own people. I've been in touch with both of them during the war, the bombings in Gaza, and Izzeddin in particular I was quite close with because I had taken him back home after his treatment, and he had mentioned that he was still alive, because that's the communication you have with people in Gaza these days. It's just a very basic, are you still alive? It's not much else you can really say. I hope you're okay. It's kind of a painful way of expressing your sympathy and support for the people there. And, he was always responding, yes, I'm fine. How are you? And then recently was asking, how can I do more to help my people? I'm looking for ways to be part of, humanitarian work here on the ground during this terrible crisis. So even during this period, a boy who had lost his leg and who was, disabled for the rest of his life, in a certain sense, was looking for ways to help his own people during this terrible crisis. Both of them are, as you mentioned, 2 of 6 kids that we brought to the United States who've been killed over the past 2.5 months.